Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Jewel. We are going to do a new project, a series. It'll probably be 2 parts of a ephemera notebook. And I've got a couple here that I've done. And I first saw this from Gayle Agostinelli. I think she had done a flip through of an ephemera, a folio. And then I watched one from Martha Managrass, and then Took's Craft Table. And I kind of combined the best of all I saw. That would work for me. I say that would work for me, and I came up with something a little bit different. Now I had this one big notebook and that I had made, and this is heavy duty. I made it out of chipboard, and I had done this to do a photo album. And so I thought, well, I'm going to play around with this whole ephemera journal idea and see what I can come up with. So this was the first one I made, and I've not filled it yet. And so these are real big pages, as you can see, and I know there's a glare. There's going to be a glare throughout this because we're going to be using book, what do you call it, page protectors, these things to make our pockets. Now, this one is just a real big one because I wanted to use this notebook, and what I did with this one is I put some pockets in the front, and those aren't see-through because I couldn't sew into this because this is such a heavyweight thick chipboard. So that was the first one that I created. And then I decided to come up with something a little bit different and start from scratch. That one I had made up to house pictures and didn't use it for that. And this has a great big wide spine. And this I did out of, we're going to reconstruct one similar to this in a different size today. And I'm just using, this one I just kind of pulled and used some papers in my stash and started to cut them down and came up with this. Now you can see these are not sewn into the spine. So this is different than the couple I saw, except for the fact that Took's Craft Table, this is her method of getting the pages in where things kind of just really, and I like this. So this is the style that we're going to make today. So on part one, what we're going to need, and I've got my items on my table here. I hope I have everything I need. I'm going to sit down. I want to make sure we're good and in frame. For the size of the journal is going to be, if you want to craft along with me, this is what you're going to need to do it the exact size that I did it. Now you can make it any size that works for you. If you've made journals before, you're going to be able to do this. This is a lighter weight cover than that big thick chipboard, and we're going to do it like this today. So you're going to need the size of it. It's going to end up being 9.5 long this way, 9.5 long by 6 inches wide. This one, I don't think, this one's a different size. Let me tell you what this one is. Because I wanted to do it where I had too much scraps of the page protectors last time. So that's why this one is 9 inches, not 9.5 by 6. And I'll tell you why I chose this size, 9.5. in a second. And then we're going to do, I felt this spine was just a little bit too wide, And so I'm going to do a 2.5. We're going to work on a 2.5-inch spine. So what I pulled out is a lighter weight chipboard, and these came off the backs of my 12 by 12 paper pads. And this is just one paper pad, so because it's going to be 6 inches long. So I've got the 2 halves, so this should be 6 and 6, yep. Cut that paper pad packaging right in half, and then I took another packaging, and I've got my spine cut out at 2.5, and I'm going to double these so that my spine is a little bit heavier, and it's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna be too worrisome when you put them together because it's not that much thicker than the sides, but it will just give a little bit more stability. Okay, so that's what we're gonna need. We're gonna need 2 pieces of the cardboard packaging. You can use a cereal box. I'm crooked, aren't I? My gracious. I just looked through my lens. It's crooked. Ugh, it's always crooked. And we're going to need page protectors. Let me see. I'm going to show you the ones that I use, because these are called heavyweight sheet protectors, multi-page capacity. So I wanted it a little heavier because I wanted to make sure it's durable. So you're going to need a bunch of those depending on how many pages that we're going to put in our journal. And I'm making this size along with you, so I'm not sure how many of these I'm going to need. What you're going to do with these is you're going to cut them in thirds. So I'm going to show you, we're going to get to that in a minute. So you're probably going to need about 6 to 8 of these, maybe even a few more. So they come in big packages and they're not that expensive. So get the heavy duty. Then you're going to need the chipboard that I told you about, the packaging. And that will measure the 9.5 by 6. So you're going to do 6 inches wide and then 9.5 for the length. So you're going to need the 2 pieces, and you're going to need the 2 pieces for the spine. So this is 2.5 inches and then by the 9.5 long. Okay, so you're also going to need 2 12-inch cardstock papers. I chose this because, and this was off the single sheets that you kind of buy. I think I got this at either Michael's or I think it might have been Michael's, where you buy just the single sheets, because I like the shabby chic color, but I don't like this hot pink side. But we're not going to see that because this is going to be for the cover. Okay, so we're going to have leftover cutoffs of this, and we'll make pockets for the inside probably out of that. Then you're going to need, hold on, 8 to 10 patterned or plain cardstock pages. Now what I did, and you can use whatever you have in your stash, or if you want to print out some, I've got this beautiful, they're called ticking papers, and I've got these and I printed them on a 45-pound photo paper. But I wouldn't use, if you're going to use cardstock, make sure it's at least 44 pounds or 65 pounds, you know, in there. You don't want it super heavy because we're going to be actually gluing these pages in, and I'll show you that after. And these ticking, I think it's called, it was from My Porch Prints, shabby ticking stripe papers. So I wanted to let you know what I was using on the inside you know, pages. Now the reason why I didn't want to use real busy, you can use plain cardstock. Martha Managros, I think that's how you say her name, did plain colored, I think maybe like this color. So you could see your ephemera. I used a light pattern paper in this one, and I can see my ephemera just fine. I think if it gets too busy of a background, when you go to choose your papers, you're gonna be in, might be into trouble. I'm looking for my other book. Yeah, now this one, let me see what I used on this one. I think I used, yeah, see, very plain, simple cardstock. This was cardstock that I kind of wanted to use up. So that worked out real well. Simple, plain patterns. Okay, let me put that aside. So then you're going to need, let me see, a paper cutter or scissors if you don't have a paper cutter. Or you can just use a blade, for cutting your papers down, because the size of the papers you're going to need are going to be 6 1/4 inches by 9 3/8 inches. So here's one here. I've already scored this so you could see this. So you're going to cut your papers 6 1/4 inches wide, and you are going to cut them 9 1/2 inches long, 9 1/2 inches long. So that's going to be the size of your papers, and you're going to need 8 to 10 of them. So I've got those over here. Paper cutter, scissors. You're going to need some glue, and I would get a good durable glue. I would not suggest a glue stick. I've got Fabri-Tac here. Tacky glue probably would work fine. Eileen's Tacky Glue, or one of your favorite glues that holds well. And you're going to need a ruler. Well, you're going to need a ruler so you can measure your papers. That's the reason why you need your ruler. And optional is a scoreboard. Otherwise, you'll see when we get into this, when we start marking our pages, to get your fold nice and even, you may have to, measure and then just fold it real good. I used the Martha Stewart scoreboard for mine because I wanted a nice straight line on the end. And either I find the sewing machine is best, but if you don't have a sewing machine, I did experiment on a couple other ways of glue. Does not hold the page protectors on your paper. It just doesn't. What I have come up with is packing tape will work, and I put some packing, and I know there's a glare there. Well, there's a glare on my whole table because I got a glass table here. Packing tape, or you could come in and just use a stapler. Now, that's my least favorite method because, you could get caught up on the staples, but if you're careful, that would be okay. So if you do not sew and do not have a sewing machine but want to make one of these, you still can. Good old packing tape, even duct tape, maybe. I haven't tried the duct tape, but we're going to use the duct tape in a minute because I want to use this up, and I'm going to show you an easy way of making your spine and covering it with duct tape, or your cover. So you can use the packing tape or that. So optional is a sewing machine, but that's the preferred method. When I first started sewing on these pockets, they kind of went, it took me like 4 or 5 times before I got a good grip on it, because they do have a tendency to slide around a little bit on your paper. And see here, I had to sew twice because I kind of came off. I didn't get this down. And see, this one's kind of messed up a little bit, but I got better. It just, You know, it's different than sewing fabric or paper when you get to the slippery, slick stuff. Okay, so that's what we're going to need, and optional is duct tape, packing tape, or fabric if you want to put fabric over your spine. Okay, so let's get started. I did go ahead and cut my packaging down so that we didn't, you know, have to do that. Now what I'm going to do is, and I want to make sure I'm not too close, but I'm close enough. Let me stand up and look at this. I feel like I'm a little close. I think I'm going to pull this back just a little bit, guys. So hang on for the ride because sorry about that. I feel like we were just a tad too close. I think that's a little bit better. Okay, first thing I want to do is glue the two pieces together for the middle. Did you see my new glass? I'm so excited. I got the Tonic Studios Tim Holtz glass cutting table, and I love it. My one underneath is so marked up and from cutting on it and gluing, and if you ink on it, you know, one of these plain big cutting mats, they really, I might have to fill my glue, guys, in a minute. They you can't get a lot of the stuff off. The glue can't come off. The glue and everything can come right off of this glass thing. And I know there are other brands out there that are less expensive, but I wanted, this is a little bit bigger than a few of them I saw, and I want to put quite a bit of glue on here. Also, I liked this area over here, crooked, over there for inking and doing, you know, my different mediums, you know, my gelatos and things like that. You can mix it right on here. It's nice, so I don't have to pull out my craft mat. All right, these two are together, pretty close. All right, so that's going to be the middle. Now, I'm just going to take this funky looking duct tape, and before, you know, I'm just going to, this is a very easy way, and you see I'm having a little space. I want a little space in between my, I'm going to stand up to see this. I want to line this up on my table. I just want a little space because this part can be a little finicky. The reason why you want a space is you want to make sure you can bend, you know, this where it's not catching up. You want a little space. Just, whoops, I'm dumping out my ephemera here. That's great. So, and this glass table is a little slick for this now that I'm working. I haven't made a cover on this before with just a little slick. Now this is where the duct tape comes in really good. You can use book tape, you know, anything for this, but this is a little trick to catch. Let me get my scissors here. I'm going to cut this over here. And then I just kind of drop the duct tape on it. Now it's scooching around at the top, but that's okay. And I'll come back and I'm going to put another piece up here. Good old duct tape. This is a good, easy way to do this. And you know, I don't do this if I'm going to be selling a book, but this is a real, I'm using these ephemera folders, so there. Now I'm going to put one more piece in the middle. You can go this way with it, but when I try to line it up this way, down the two, I end up shifting. It shifts on me every time, so I've just decided just to go do 3 pieces, boom, boom, boom. One at the top, one at the bottom, and one in the middle, and plus, what else am I going to do with this tape? I don't know. I've had it for a long time. I don't know what else to do with it. It's clouds or something. Puffy, multicolored clouds. I think I bought it thinking it was a big roll of washi tape or something like that. Now, if you want this super secure, you can put more tape on the other side. So we'll do that, but we're going to be covering this whole thing in cardstock. So that'll make our cover even more durable. I'll put a piece there, and then a piece here. I'm filming this on Sunday of Columbus Day weekend, and I had to take a break. I was helping my husband. We're painting. We have a huge painting job. It's our family room and the main room of the house, and the ceilings are very high. It's a big room. It goes into the kitchen, so the kitchen has to be painted too. It hasn't been painted since we moved in. I think I might put a little bit more down here. And so he's out there doing this. I like my ceilings painted, not white. I'm using like a grayish paint in there. It's like a not taupe, not gray, like in between. And so I had to get just the shade. I do different, like we have a ceiling that has a, like, what do you call it? Tray ceiling in one area, so that's got to be the same shade but 3 shades lighter. And poor guy, he can't keep up with, you know, because I get a little bit carried away when it comes to my painting jobs. And we do everything ourselves. We don't hire out. So, I don't know. He's out there doing that while I'm in here playing. That's what I feel like I'm doing. But I said I was going to do this. I had a lot of requests for this. Doesn't matter what's the outside and what's the inside, because it's all going to get covered. So, all right, so let's go ahead and we're going to cover it with our cardstock. And you can see why we needed 2 pieces. And I think I'm going to have the seam go down the middle because we're going to be covering this again on the outside. I'll show you what I mean with a coordinating paper. Now, which way do I want this paper to go? Do I want it to go this way or this way? I guess it doesn't really matter, does it? I guess like this. So let me flip it over where I can see. And I'm going to mark where I'm going to cut it. Okay, let me grab my pencil. I'm still standing. I craft standing up so much, it's crazy. We're probably going to need about 1 inch. And any other, if you find an easier way to cover yours, I'm going to mark it here. You know, sometimes, for instance, there's so many different ways to cover. If you want to use this whole thing, you can lay it right in the middle and then do a coordinating paper on the outside. But because I want my spine to be, you know, a little more supportive, I'm going to be adding another piece here of a coordinating paper, or the same paper, we'll see. But okay, so I marked this somewhere. Now I lost my mark. I'll have to mark it again. Okay. And I'm going to measure that, okay, so that you know. So if you're using a 12-inch and you want to cover it that way, this is 8 inches. Cut it 8 inches. Okay, so let's cut this. This is my portable trimmer. So we're going to need 2. One for each side. And I should have marked the other way because it's too long. Let me see. Because I'm going to fold this. This is going to be folded over this way. So I just want to trim off. I like to leave a good inch on each side. So I'm just going to eyeball this right here. I'm going to cut these down. Okay, now we can glue on this paper. I'm checking to see if I have my other glue out here. I don't. Hold on a sec, guys, because I think I'm going to be running out of glue. I just filled that up, too, 2 days ago. I just get a little bit in it. You can fast forward through this. You know I don't edit my videos. Someday. I get the bigger ones. I buy them in things of 3. All right, that'll be good enough for now. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I thought I was very prepared. I guess not. Okay, back to covering. So we're going this way, and I'm going to flip it over just to make sure we're good. Yep, about like that. And I think I need to just pop it this way just a little bit more. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm just going to put a little mark so I know where to line this up. Actually, I'm right on my cutting board, you know. Let me get this lined up with my cutting board so I can and there's been times where I've come in and the papers are completely on an angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply it right to right to the packaging. And since I'm gluing over top of the put plenty on there. And I could sew this because this is thin enough where this chipboard is thin enough where it shouldn't bother my machine, and I might do that. I did sew the one. All right, I'm going to stop there. Whoops. Line this up. Let me flip it over to make sure I got plenty. Yeah, that's good. And then I'm just going to lift this up and glue the rest. Oops. So we'll probably just get the cover made today. And if, you know, you can skip watching this if you've made covers before to get to the, you know, the guts of the way I'm going to put the pages in. You know, if you, that will be probably part 2. Yeah, I probably will sew around this. All right, let's do the other side. I'm going to overlap that a little bit, just a tad. Probably about like that. And glue this. Gosh, I don't know how I go through so much of this glue. I think I asked somebody, I might have put it out there last time to I asked if you guys, had to reorder the glue and asked if anybody could tell me where they bought their glue and got it the cheapest. I'm getting it through Amazon, and I'm buying the 3 8-ounce ones to fill up my little 4-ounce ones because I can't really squeeze that 8-ounce bottle. And I think it comes down to, to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure what I paid for it, but that I found was the cheapest way so far. This is a little bit not long enough on this one side. I'm just pulling it back. If you guys, you know, get it cheaper somewhere else, could you kind of just maybe put that in the comment boxes, because this stuff is super expensive. And I don't know, I know that Beacon makes a 3-in-1. It's called 3-in-1, and I think they're virtually the same thing. I don't know. Could you let me know if they are? Because I think that might be a little bit cheaper than the Fabri-Tac. And I wanted to know if it works good on fabric, because I use so much fabric, since I use a lot of fabrics and I use a lot of trims. So now if you really want to get that down good, you can just kind of screw push it down. Okay, so there's the front, and this is going to be the inside. So I'm going to use a coordinating paper, but let's go ahead and, whoops, that kind of came apart there. Fold up the edges because we're going to use a coordinating fabric, I'll have to come back and miter that corner, a coordinating paper. You know, if you want, you can make this with a fabric cover. I like to use up some of this cardstock because I kind of get bored. I loved this, but I'm already bored. I bought like 6 to 8 sheets of it. And, excuse me, I'm gonna get my bone folder. And I'm already bored with it. Okay, I might just go like this. See if I haven't, yeah. Just push my corners down instead of cutting them off. All right, let's glue these. Let me glue this side down first. Hold on. Actually, I'm going to glue down this side first. Let me just push in this side too, and that way I can just go all the way around with the bead of glue. Whoops, this side is not. I didn't quite leave it long enough, but I can, it's okay. I'm going to have to trim off this angle. Okay. All right. We'll glue this down. Then we'll pick another paper for the inside. I did put a couple aside that I printed out from that My Porch Prints paper. Beautiful paper. I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of it because if you like shabby chic, I mean, that could be used in a lot of projects. I'm already making some more folios. I did do a video on my, I don't really know if you want to call them folios. What they are is small journals with fold-out pockets, you know, basically. But I call them folios. Okay, I'll glue the other side. Whoops. So the reason why we got into the paint job this weekend is because my husband had a 3 days off tomorrow because he works for a government contract. You know, the government's everything, it's closed for Columbus Day. So he's off, and we get into these bigger projects when he's got, you know, a 3-day weekend. We get into more projects. I see everybody's like, oh, let's go. They're all going here, they're going there, they're out doing, and we're here working. I'm like, how many? I don't know. We spend so much time on projects in the houses that we bought. It's like, oh my gosh, you know. Whoops, this is popping up. I might have to add a little bit more glue to that. This is why I like to sew. Okay, now we'll do the little side here. And I sure hope I like the paint I picked out, because man, when he started painting there, I'm like, because the walls were just white. So once you start adding color on white walls, it looks so much darker than it did on the palette. And I actually went around and painted little sections all over the house of 4 different colors. I bought the samples, 4 different colors, and then when he started painting, he got like half of a part of a ceiling done, and I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I like that. He just looking at me like, it's too bad you're living with it. We're not changing the paint color now. He says, I got $300 of paint in the garage, Julie. Okay, I like it. I'm like, oh no. Plus prepping, you know, taking all the pictures off the walls, and oh man, I don't like it. So we're not going to be finished. I mean, I'm in here doing this and he's out doing that, but he is leaving all the base. I will be painting the baseboards and all the trims, because he won't get to that. And then I'm going to paint the lower portion of like like our center aisle in the kitchen. There's the wood around the bottom of that, or the drywall, I should say, and some wood, and I'll paint that, you know, the things that are low, because, you know, I can't, those rollers get heavy, and my shoulders aren't good. They're eating away from my rheumatoid, so they're not in great shape, so that's hard. He's not in the best shape either, but, you know, he's doing it. I've got the back door slightly open. Our air conditioner decided to break on us earlier today. Again. And you know, it went from 73 in the house up to almost 80 in about 3 hours. I'm like, oh gosh. He was able to fix it though, my husband was. It took him about a half an hour. It's kind of the same reoccurring thing. Okay, so that's sewn around. Now I'm going to kind of work this a little bit, just so the spine is, yep, we got plenty of room there. And this will work a little bit. It's kind of a flexible cover. Okay, now I want to cover, and we're going to save these 2 cut-off pieces for pockets, I think, unless I decide and get it in my head I want to do the clear pockets. All right, I've got some coordinating papers. Kinda. I mean, they came from the shabby thing. What do you call it? The ticking. So pretty, aren't they? And I thought I had picked out pink. I had. Let me see. See, I printed both sides in case I wanted to, you know, I could just use, I liked this. Oh no, it's gonna have to go this way. It's okay. Which one? I like the pink. I do have this pink, plain pink. I like that one with the writing on it. Let me see if we're going to use this for pocket. What will that look like over top of that? Oh, the pink. I've got this one. Just doesn't, it can't do that this way because the writing is wrong. I have to do this one. Okay, let me cut it down to size. Might use a clear pocket, might not use this on here. I just want to take the white edges, that white edge off. Now for the outside, now that I'm thinking about it, I want to come over the middle of this because now I have a seam in the middle. But, you know, that's not necessary. You know, I was thinking I would wrap around a piece, you know, no, that's not wide enough. Wrap around the piece this way, see, the paper this way. I don't know. I could put a piece of lace here. I'm not sewing into the spine, but you know what? You almost can't see that seam. And since it's for me, I might not cover that. Okay. But normally that's what I would do. So I've decided we're going to use this. And let me take off the white. I'm getting ahead of myself. The white. You could ink. You could if you wanted to, but I don't think I'm going to ink. Now, I am going to go right, I'm going to use this whole thing. I'll tell you why, because I'm not too concerned about covering that in the middle because you're going to see why it will be covered. Because we're going to be gluing, whoops. Now we just got to mark the length. We're going to be gluing right in that whole middle spine thing. You'll see when we start adding the pages. Okay, now let me see. I really like this part down here a bit. Okay, right here. All right, I'm marking the size, and you'll see. I'm probably going to have to print out Lucy. Okay, so this I'm going to glue right on here. See, so all this extra paper in the middle is going to help to make that spine even better because we're going to be gluing in so many pieces. You'll see. You'll see. Okay, let's glue this. This is getting kind of thick. I may have to change my needle. This I sewed around, but I don't think, this doesn't feel as thick. The cardboard I used on this one feels like it's a little thicker. The packaging. Now, when I make books, my hardback books, I get graphics, a very heavyweight chipboard. I don't remember the millimeter of it right offhand. It's an acid-free, and I've been using the same one for the last few years because I like it. It's a nice heavy cardboard chipboard. Usually I stand up. I should be standing up to make sure that's lined up. Okay, now we're going to put one on the other side. But it doesn't have to be this because it's going to be the back cover. I might just use the plain striped. Because that's what I have on my desk. Now I'm going to work this a little bit. There. Sometimes if you don't, you can always come in and like, I could use a little bit more glue right here. So I'm just going to come in and I just don't want too much glue seepage, you know, like I did get some there, but okay. All right, so that will be the front, and then the back we can do, let's see what I've got over here. No, on a plain, could do this. I just really don't want to print out another piece of paper. This isn't, the writing isn't going the right way. That's not gonna work. And that's plain on that side. I guess I might have to print a piece out. But I don't want to. So, I think I'm just going to, yeah, I think I'm gonna print. I think I'm gonna stop here, guys. I'm gonna print this piece out. And I'll probably go ahead and glue it on, and then part 2 we will come and we will get our pages prepared to go in this, okay? Because I don't want to take time to do that now. So anyways, so I'll see you part 2. Okay guys, thanks, have a blessed day, bye-bye.